Hello, everyone. Welcome to the All Day Football Show. I'm your host, Jackson Kellogg. Today, we'll be getting into Game Picks Week 9 edition. Today is Sunday, meaning it is Football Sunday. We're getting ready for all the games that are going to happen today. So, we're going to get right into it. Last week, I went 6-8, my worst week so far. That puts me at 70, 48, and 1 on the season. Upset win of the week goes to the Vikings, who beat the Packers in a very close game towards the end, but they were able to pull through. And the game where I'm not surprised, they put the Chiefs up against the Jets. So, yeah. Teams on bye this week include Bengals, Browns, Eagles, and Rams. So, I did not post this on Thursday like I normally do. I did leave a comment on the last video I did saying that I had picked the Packers. And the Packers did win. They blew out a decimated 49ers team that was playing mostly backups that game. So, good win for the Packers on Thursday Night Football. So now getting into the actual picks, starting with the 1 o'clock games. We've got Colts against the Ravens. I'm going to give this to the Ravens. The Ravens have had issues playing against competitive teams. Right now, the Colts, you could call them one of those competitive teams, because they are 5-2, I believe, at the moment. But their issue is that they haven't beaten any proven commodities yet. So if they were able to pull through against the Ravens here, that would go a long way in showing that they could actually compete for a wild card spot, or even possibly the division, as they're tied with it for the lead right now with the Titans. I do think that the defense does have a chance to hold off Lamar Jackson, but I don't know how the offense is going to compete against the top 3 defense in the league right now. Jaguars Texans. The Jaguars are going to be starting quarterback Jake Luton, as Gardner Minshew is dealing with a thumb injury. Texans didn't sell anybody at the trade deadline. There were a lot of rumors that they might trade Will Fuller to the Packers. It did not happen. There's a lot of reports that J.J. Watt wants out after this year. But that's next year. We're in the current right now, and the Texans have a better team than the Jaguars and are going to smoke a Jaguars team that's starting a quarterback who does not belong to be starting in the league right now. Seahawks Bills, a terrible secondary meets an inconsistent quarterback. We're going to see if Josh Allen can really pick apart a defense here, where this is the perfect matchup for him to do it, because the Bills are going to have to keep up by scoring points because the Seahawks offense is just that good. The Bills are going to do their best to try and slow it down, but it's not going to have the best effect that it's had against other teams. I mean, it's not like they're playing the Jets. So, Josh Allen's going to have to be able to keep up with Russell Wilson's scoring, and he's going to have a chance to against a weak secondary in Seattle that's just getting Jamal Adams back, but I mean, that overshadows all the different issues they have. I think he's going to pull through, which is why I give the Bills the win here. I think it comes down to which team is going to have a better performing defense. I think it's going to be the Bills, who definitely have the better defense on paper, where they have a pass rush and they have a much better secondary than the Seahawks do. Chiefs Panthers. Panthers have been one of the most inconsistent teams all year, and they're facing one of the most consistent teams over the last couple years. So this win goes to the Chiefs, as Patrick Mahomes is going to probably just light some bombs over this young, growing Panthers defense that's performed well to this point up in the season. But like I said, they are younger. They're still learning. They've got guys like Derek Brown, Yetur Gross-Matos, Jeremy Chin. Those guys all have to get better as playing as a team. And Mahomes is just going to make this young core look silly. Falcons, Broncos, 2 teams that underperforming what some might have expected them to this year. Falcons just have close game after close game that they blow. The Broncos are slowly starting to come back from a low record in the season. I give this win to the Falcons, though. I think the Broncos defense is going to have a tough issue facing the triple wide receiver head in Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Russell Gage. I think Drew Lock isn't going to be able to keep up offensively, as the Broncos offense is very young. They haven't had a ton of time to play as a team. They did pull through against the Chargers, so I'm not saying that the Broncos are going to get blown out here. I think it'll be close, but I think the Falcons, being more of the veteran team, are going to pull through here. Titans Bears, when a unstoppable force meets a it's an unstoppable force meets a immovable object. The Titans offense that runs through Derrick Henry and very few defenses have been able to stop against a top defense in the Bears that have carried them to a 5-2 or 5-3 record so far this season. It'll be a very interesting game that I do think the Titans pull through, because the Titans defense, though it has struggled this season, they're playing one of the worst offenses in the league, ran by Nick Foles, and their only receiver threat right now is Allen Robinson. So I think it'll be a nice, easy win for the Titans to bounce back after their back-to-back losses. The battle in the worst division of the league, of the two worst divisions, or the two worst teams in that division. The Washington football team against the New York Giants. I give this team to Washington for the main reason as I think both offenses are pretty equivalent in terms of, Terry McLaurin carries that Washington offense, and then Danny Derps just holds the Giants offense back. But I definitely feel like Washington has the better defense of the two, and I think they're going to bounce back from the last time they played where the Giants snuck away with a victory. I think Washington gets them back today with better defensive play than they have had in the past. Vikings Lions. The Lions are performing a little bit better than people expected to this year. They're at 3-4, but they did just get blown out by the Indianapolis Colts. And the Minnesota Vikings did just come off a great victory with an upset win over the Packers, which is why I'm going to give this win to the Vikings. I think they're going to ride this momentum to face a weaker team and pull through with a nice victory. Matthew Stafford has been out all week, being on COVID list. He is eligible to play today, though, so he will be starting. But as I've seen as a Patriots fan, you can't take your starting quarterback getting COVID as he'll be fine. He didn't need to practice all week. Cam Newton went almost 2 weeks without practicing, and we've seen what it's done for the Patriots season so far. So it's not something to undervalue, and I think we're going to see the effects of what it can happen on other teams as well, as the Vikings could quite possibly blow the Lions out today. Raiders Chargers. The autumn wind got lucky last week as it was blowing in their favor, except for that one field goal that was looking like it was going to go far right, but then just angled and shot right back down to far left. It was an ugly looking ball that just ended up missing. And the Chargers have had a rough season where they've played Justin Herbert for most of it, but their woes haven't been because of Justin Herbert. The Chargers have had some issues as a unit. They haven't been able to close out games. They had a 21-3 or 24-3 lead over the Broncos last week, and the Broncos came back and won 34-31 or something like that. So, the Chargers definitely have to work on closing out games, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that against the Raiders here, as I think the Raiders are going to pull through. John Gruden's going to get this team to knock on wood because they're with him, they're following him, and the Raiders are actually looking pretty good this year and look to possibly be a wild card team this year. Cardinals Dolphins. The Tua show is on. I think it would have been really fun if the Dolphins ended up going with Josh Rosen in the past. Granted, he's probably just been sucking, which is why they let him go. But it'd be fun to see if Josh Rosen ended up being the quarterback for the Dolphins. You'd get Kyler Murray, who took his place after him being with the Cardinals for 1 year. And now Josh Rosen's one of the biggest busts of the past decade. I do give this win to the Cardinals. They have a much better offense, and the defense is starting to get itself together. They have a lot of younger players who have to prove themselves, as the defense is probably going to get revamped over the next couple years, as first Kingsbury and Steve Keim, I think the general managers there. First, they started building around the offense. They put it together. It looks great. Now, in the next couple seasons, they're going to focus on the defense, putting it all together. And I don't think that the Dolphins are going to be able to hold off this Cardinals offense, and Tua might struggle against a team that made Russell Wilson look silly. So that was a very rare sight to see, and the Cardinals are going to look to build off of that. Oh boy. The Cowboys are starting Garrett Gilbert today at quarterback, their fourth quarterback to start a game this year. The Steelers aren't really dealing with too many injuries this game. They've dealt with some offensive line shuffling, some D-line shuffling. But that's about it. And the Steelers are undefeated so far this season, the only undefeated team left. And the Cowboys have one of the worst defenses in the league at this point. Yeah, it's going to be a blowout. Game of the week, Sunday Night Football. Tampa Brady and the Buccaneers against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. It's going to be a great matchup. It'll be Antonio Brown's first game back in over a year, as he was brought on to the Buccaneers for pretty much his final chance in the league. To put it this way, he is definitely starting in my fantasy football lineup today, because Brady has vouched for AB so much. He's saying that he's going to look his way a lot to start this game. Great for PPR. I honestly think the Saints are going to have a tough time stopping this Buccaneers team, which is why I'm giving the Bucs the win. The Saints, they're trying to put themselves together. They've had a lot of close games that they've pulled through. And I think the Buccaneers are just going to have too high scoring of an offense, as the Saints secondary has been the weakest spot on this team so far this year. And I don't think Drew Brees is going to be able to keep up against a Buccaneers team defense that's been top fives this year, and has been a tough thing for other teams to get by. They've definitely shown that they've been better since that Bears loss, and the Saints just barely edged out the Bears. So I don't know what it is with these two teams and the Bears, but I think it's going to be a rough going for Drew Brees, that they're going to lose but then have to build off of this game to go win a Super Bowl. Monday Night Football, my New England Patriots, 2-5, their worst record to start a season since the 1900s. But they're facing the only winless team in the league right now, in the New York Jets. So that's a positive. I do give the Patriots the win. There's not really a whole lot of analysis to it. I mean, the Patriots had a close loss to the Bills last week. Cam Newton isn't looking like the Cam Newton of old, however you want to put it. He's not. We're lucky that it was a $1 million signing, or people would be calling for his head. But the Jets stink, so you could pretty much give any team that plays the Jets the W. So that's what I'm doing. I don't really have any excuses for how the Patriots have played this year. They've dealt with COVID issues, but I think the biggest issue for the Patriots right now is Josh McDaniels, their offensive coordinator, is the biggest phony ever. Not a good offensive coordinator, has not been successful in the league anywhere without Tom Brady, which is why I believe he should be fired after the season, but that is very unlikely to happen. He'd be more likely to get hired as a head coach, because that's how this league works. But anyways, guys, that's it for this week. Hope you all enjoyed. I've been dealing with allergies this past week, so I didn't get to upload a Boston Tea Party podcast. I didn't think it would sound good. I'm still feeling a little stuffy right now. That's why I did my power rankings the way I did. Got mixed reviews on that formatting. So we'll see if I do it that way in the future, if something like this happens again where I don't feel like I'd sound good speaking. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. That'd be very appreciated. Leave a like. That would also help a lot in trying to grow this channel. Have a great football Sunday, and let's go root for those Patriots on Monday.